Imagine this, you quit your 9 to 5 job and retire early because you have a passive income from your dividends, which is the same if not more than what your 9 to 5 job is paying you. Now I know you're probably thinking this sounds quite bizarre, like you work 8 hours a day to earn an income, and this guy's on YouTube saying that I can replace this with passive income that will keep coming in while I eat, while I sleep, while I take a vacation. Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying. Now, for the majority of you, retiring early by replacing your 9 to 5 job with income from dividends and essentially never working a 9 to 5 again is probably more of a dream than reality right now. But I'm here to tell you that you know what? It can be done. And it has been done by many people. Yes, it will 100% require some hard work and dedication from you. That goes without saying. And you will have to think long term. Now, this is not a get rich quick scheme, but I mean, nothing is a get rich quick scheme. Now, some of you may think that replacing your 9 to 5 income with dividends and retiring early is only doable if you put a very large amount of money up front. And that's because you're not using dividends in the right way. I mean, take this as an example. Let's say you want to earn £30,000 a year passive income from dividends. And let's say your dividend return is 5% per year. Then you would need to invest £600,000. You can see the issue there, right? Most people just don't have that sort of money to invest. But by the end of this video, provided you watch this video till the end, you'll know exactly what you need to do so that you can replace your income from your 9 to 5 job with income from dividends without having to put a large amount of money up front. Yes, this can be done provided you use dividends in the right way. And that is the whole point of this video, so do stick around till the end. Hey, what's up people? Welcome back to our channel, Ralph Finance UK. Now we are going to get straight into it. The whole point of this video is for you to go out there and build a stream of passive income. Let me tell you, building a stream of passive income has never ever been more important. You should not solely be relying on someone else to give you a paycheck. I mean, if we look over to the US, when this pandemic first hit, we saw more than 30 million Americans just simply lose their jobs, poof, gone. And so by having that stream of passive income, that gives you the stability you need in a tough situation. Honestly, it is crucial for you to have a way to bring money in which is outside of your 9 to 5 job. The whole point of it is so you're not solely relying on someone else. At the end of the day, it should be you and only you who has control over your own income. And this is exactly where passive income comes in. Money you earn without having to directly exchange your time. I mean, to make a stream of passive income in the first place, you definitely do have to put the hours in initially, but then you let your money work for you. And you essentially earn while you sleep, while you eat, while you're on vacation. Now, if there's one thing you're going to want to put on your goals for the new year, it is to build a stream of passive income. Now, a lot of successful people actually have multiple streams of passive income. And if you watch one of my other videos, you'll actually see that for rich people, their salary income makes up less than 10% of their total income in the year. The other 90%, where does that come from? Passive income. So, I mean, yeah, you definitely have to start somewhere. So I'm not talking about setting up multiple streams immediately, but start off by making that one stream of passive income. Take more control over your own financials so you're not solely relying on a 9 to 5 job. And a great way to start is by investing in stocks that give you dividends. So when you invest in a company on the stock market, you're essentially giving them some money that they can then use to grow. And in return, you are a part owner of that company. So let's say you buy one share of Apple, then you own 0.000000059% of Apple. So I wouldn't exactly brag about it, but the point is you are a part owner of Apple. So whenever Apple or whatever other company you've invested in make a profit, they can do two things with this money. They can either reinvest this straight back into the company, and the reason they would want to do this if they want to expand and grow, they can use that money. Or they can redistribute this profit to their shareholders, as like I just said, every shareholder is a part owner of that company. Or it could be a combination of both of these. Now, when the company gives its profits to its shareholders, this is what's known as dividends. So if you're one of the shareholders, let me ask you, which one would you prefer? Would you want to receive some dividends so that you have money in your hand, or would you prefer the company to reinvest that profit? Well, if the company reinvests the profits back in, then you would expect them to grow and you'd expect that share price to go up. And if the company just pays all of its income as dividends, then they don't really have any money left over that they can use to grow. But you now as the shareholder have a passive income. So if you think about it, either way the shareholder will benefit. Either the share price goes up or the shareholder directly earns a passive income from the dividends, or it could be a combination of both. And it really does depend on what you're looking for as an investor. Are you mainly focusing on passive income right now, or are you in it for the long term and you're hoping that the share price will go up in the future? Now, for most people, it is a combination of both of these. Now, when people talk about dividends, they usually talk about the dividend yield, and this is just telling you how much dividends you're going to get per share. So if a company pays £3 of dividend income from every share, and each share costs £100, then the dividend yield will be 3%. Now, the dividend yield isn't just completely fixed, it will end up changing from time to time. And that's because it depends on the share price, which is constantly changing, and also the company itself. The company can change its mind on how much dividends it wants to pay. I mean, take this as an example. If the company has had a bit of a tough year and they're running a bit low on their cash, then they probably want to save some of that cash rather than pay out as dividends. And also, another way the dividend yield can change is if the share price falls. Then the dividend yield will go up. Let's take this as an example. Let's say you get £4 of dividends per share, and each share costs £200. That's a 2% yield. But if the share price now drops straight down to £100 because I don't know, the company's having problems or something, then now you're getting £4 of dividends. That doesn't change, but now each share costs £100. So effectively that's £4 on a £100 share. That is 4%. So from your perspective, the yield has doubled. And this is one of the main reasons why you shouldn't just be looking at the dividend yield. I mean, a lot of people make this mistake. They see a high dividend yield and they're like, oh yeah, that is a great company to invest in. But a high dividend yield could just mean that the share price has dropped recently and the dividend just hasn't adjusted to the new share price yet, rather than meaning that the company is doing well. And something else you want to be paying attention to is the payout ratio, which is all the dividends paid out by the company divided by its total income. So if that's really high, then that means the company is pretty much paying all of its profits as dividends, and so it's not really left with that much money to put back into the company and grow. And if that payout ratio is really low, that means the company aren't paying that much in dividends compared to how much money they're actually making. So they must be reinvesting that money, or at least you hope. And so generally, the lower the payout ratio, the better, because although you do want your passive income from dividends, you also do want that share price to go up over the long term. And so you want the company to have some money left over, which they can essentially use to grow. The company essentially have to keep that balance between keeping the shareholders satisfied with dividends, but also leaving enough money in the company so that they can expand. Now, a lot of new companies and a lot of tech companies as well, actually, they don't usually pay dividends. And if you think about it, it does make sense, right? I mean, their main focus is to grow, grow, grow. So they want to be reinvesting every pound they have straight back into the company. I mean, they can give a pound away as dividends, but if they think that if they reinvest this pound into their growing, thriving company, they can then maybe turn it into £10 or £100. So they want to be reinvesting back in. Now take it if you have a big and very stable company that perhaps doesn't have massive growth prospects in the future because they're already so big, then they'll usually pay more in dividends. Okay, so now let's get to the calculations on how you can replace your 9-to-5 income with income from dividends. So let's say you earn £30,000 a year and your goal is to replace all of this income with passive income from dividends. Now, the example I gave you right at the start of this video was that if you earn a 5% return from your dividends, which is quite respectable, then you would need to have £600,000, which most people just don't have. So how can you really use dividends to your advantage rather than just relying on that base 5% rate? Well, the key is that dividends will compound and grow over time. Let me explain what I mean. So let's say a company pays you £5 of dividend income per share and each share is priced at £100. That's a 5% yield. Now let's say in 7 years the share price has doubled to £200. Now this is good news for you because the share price has doubled, so your investment has also doubled. And now when the share price doubles, this usually means the company's profits also double. And so the dividend usually doubles as well. Now instead of paying £5 of dividends per share, now the company can pay £10 of dividends per share. So the people that are buying the share today at £200, they're receiving their £10 of dividends per share, and that is a 5% yield. But because you got in early, because you bought the share 7 years ago when it was at £100, then from your perspective, you're receiving £10 of dividends for every £100 share. That's a 10% yield, not 5%. And this effect really does build up over the long term, because let's say in another 7 years, the share price doubles yet again. Now your dividend yield will have gone from 10% now to 20%. So you started off at a 5% yield, the share price doubled 7 years later, your yield went straight up to 10%. The share price doubled again another 7 years later, and your dividend yield is now effectively 20%. And so you can see that all the investors who bought the shares early at the discount price, well, they reap the most benefits. And this is why investing for the long term is so important, because the compounding really does make your investment grow. Now, I don't want you to think that your dividend will be doubling overnight. This is a long process. Trust me, I get that. But the point is, it is very doable and the upside is huge. And so if a company can double in value twice over the course of 14 years, then now instead of requiring that £600,000 investment that we started off with in order to make a £30,000 a year in dividend income, now your upfront investment goes straight down to £150,000, which is already much more realistic than a £600,000 investment. And it is a huge step in replacing your income with income from dividends. And so the first step is to really get it into your head that this is a long-term game. But we are nowhere near done. So I just want to say, if you are finding value out of this video, which I hope you are, then I'd really appreciate it if you can hit that thumbs up button. That way you'll get more of our videos recommended to you, and it will help us to grow this channel. And yeah, we do have a ton more content coming that you're not going to want to miss. So hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss our next video. Now you have to do one more step in order to bring that £150,000 investment down to a smaller, even more realistic amount. And that is you have to keep reinvesting. Yes, once you found your dividend paying stocks to invest in for the long term, now is the time to knuckle down. Keep putting money in. Don't make excuses. You do have to be very disciplined to keep putting money in. Trust me, I know it can be hard when you have to do it every single month over the course of a long period of time, but it's that consistency over the long term that's going to set you aside from the majority of people. Now, a great way to reinvest is to simply just take a small percentage of your salary every month and put it aside for your investments. And so as you buy more shares, you receive even more dividends, and the whole cycle really starts to build up. And it's not just the money you get from your salary, you can also take the money that you receive from the dividends and reinvest this back in as well. Take it as an example. Let's say a company pays £5 of dividend income per share, and each share is priced at £100. That's a 5% yield. Now let's say in the first year of your investment, you earn £100 in dividend income. That means you can buy one more share now. And now the following year, because you have that one extra share, you now make £105 in dividend income. Now I know what you might be thinking, this doesn't seem like a lot, but when you combine everything together, investing for the long term, reinvesting every month from your salary, and reinvesting the dividend income, then all of these three steps literally work together in harmony. I mean, we've already seen that if the share price doubles twice in 14 years, then your initial upfront requirement in order to make that £30,000 a year passively from dividends, that upfront requirement goes straight from £600,000 straight down to £150,000. And this is by holding for the long term in growing companies. And now by buying more shares regularly using your salary and reinvesting the dividend income as well to buy even more shares, you may find you actually need around £80,000 to £100,000. Now, some of you might think this is still a lot, but this is a long-term game. I'm not asking you to suddenly bring in £80,000 to £100,000 to invest. It's about building it up over the long term. We went from a £600,000 requirement straight down to £80,000 to £100,000. And so you really do give yourself the best chance of replacing your 9 to 5 income with dividends income and therefore retiring early. It all relies on three things. You have to have the discipline to keep putting money aside, to keep reinvesting. Number two, you do have to understand this is a long-term play. It could take 10 to 20 years. And so the earlier you start, the better it is, but it is never too late. So go out there and find yourself 2, 3, 4, or 5 dividend-paying funds that you think will grow. And that is where the hard work starts. Every single month, put your money into this. Consistency is the real key here. And over the long term, watch as your hard work pays off and your dividends grow. Now, when you first start, your dividends will be very small. Don't expect to pay off your mortgage and all of your bills with them, but be patient and they will grow. And when the market crashes, do not sell what you hold and instead use this as an opportunity to buy more at a discount. So if you found value out of this video, which honestly I really do hope you did, then all I ask is if you could please give us a thumbs up button. That way you get more of our videos recommended to you, and in return it helps our channel to grow. And yeah, we do have a ton more content coming, so hit subscribe as well so you don't miss our next video. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.